Good afternoon and welcome back to day number 15th of 29 days love challenge. I hope that on yesterday, which is, you know, we focused on a couple of things, particularly in February, right? And I got to focus on at least three things in February because number one, you focus on Black History Month, and should be no such thing. Black history should be celebrated every single day, and every culture. Check this out: every culture should be celebrated every single day. We should show love for every culture because, right, we come from one entity, and that's God. So God created us all, right? We're all brothers and sisters. We should all love each other. So, but again, welcome back to day 15. And if you guys, I don't see anybody on yet. Hopefully, they will in this process that we're going through. Hopefully, this is the lunchtime. Hopefully, they somebody will take a pause for love, right? That they will take a pause out of their busy schedule and jump on because we're trying to change, right? We are definitely trying to change our frequency. We're trying to change our vibration. We're trying to change culture, right? We're trying to shift the paradigm, um, you know, going from hate to love, right? And let me just bring this up, man. What we were all watching the Super Bowl, right, on Sunday. Of course, the Kansas City Chief, out of 30 some teams, only one team could be happy, and that was the Kansas City Chiefs. And, you know, on yesterday during the celebration, some crazy violent acts. This is what I'm talking about. During the celebration, towards the end of the celebration in Kansas City, right, they opened fire. One person dead, 21 injured. That is sad, right? And that's why I'm on here on in February, and that's why I'm offering this 29-day challenge that I believe should be continuous. It shouldn't stop at the end of 29 days. That we should continue to show love and manifest love uh, for the rest of our lives, right? And so that was insane yesterday. It was ridiculous yesterday. We pray, we sincerely pray for the family of the loved one that was lost. We continue to pray for those who were injured, right? But also, man, people will gain fear. They will move from love to fear, right? But the Bible says that perfect love casts out fear, right? And so we should not be afraid to go to celebrations, to go to marches, to get out and support the things that you're in support of, right? Without the fear. We shouldn't be afraid to go to a football game, a basketball game, a play. We shouldn't be afraid to go to anywhere downtown Times Square, New York, and be in fear that somebody's going to open fire, right? But this is why we're on here. This is why we're offering this challenge, because love can change all this, right? And so you know yeah, we take I'm gonna pause for a moment of silence here for the one that was lost and for the ones that were injured on yesterday. Yeah, so yesterday was, of course, Valentine's Day. And hopefully if you're on here and you've had, you know, the day of love, right? Now it's turned into a week of love. They've been showing romantic and love movies all week long, right? Hopefully you did something wonderful. I want to say thank you. My guest coming on is my son-in-law, right? And when they get married, when he married my daughter, we take off the son-in-law, my son, right? And that should be it. No more son-in-laws and sister-in-laws. Just when I pray for all my brothers and sisters. I pray for all my sons. Period. Right. And so yesterday he showed us an act of a random act of kindness yesterday. He stopped by with my granddaughter, Hartley, my princess, right? And he just came in, which is something that he normally does, right? You don't have to ask him. He'll look at the garbage and take the garbage out. That you don't have to ask. He always doing random acts of kindness. So he comes in yesterday. I think Isaiah's thinking about making pancakes. Well, next thing I know, he's in the kitchen. He's making pancakes. He's making pancakes for my wife, for his mother, right? And he's making pancakes for Isaiah, for me, right? And I appreciate that. I appreciate that because that's what we're talking about. Random acts of kindness, and so the day was so crazy. My wife, please continue to pray for us. My wife we lost our cousin Larry, Larry Graham, a few years ago. Now, a few years ago, Uncle Sonny son used to come up anytime that I visited um, Atlanta. I always stayed with Larry, and we lost him. And that's a hole. Sometimes people go right, and it's a pin, and sometimes there's a hole left, and he leaves a hole because, man, what a inspiration, what a loving person, and we lost just too soon. But continue to pray for our family and in this time. Um, so yesterday, I didn't do what I normally do. We've been married 40 some years. I asked my wife what we wanted with 40 years and what she wanted to do. And she was like, nah, I didn't really want to. And so she was working from home, right? And so after the kind act that my son showed us, right, I decided in my mind, I could have tried to, you know, get a card. And she had a million cards. I could give a million flowers, all those kind of things. I said, let me see what I could do. And so I bought her a Valentine's lunch, right? Lamb chops, mashed potatoes, asparagus, spinach, mushrooms, and for appetizers, a crab cake, man. And while she was working, I went on and got it and brought it home, man. And so that's what we were doing on Valentine's Day. She was working. And then I have been trying. I've been trying to see my friend's son play in a basketball game. I haven't seen him in some years, like 5 years. One time he was in elementary school. He read over 100 some books, right? And the next thing I know, he was in middle school, and now he's playing JV basketball at a Catholic school. And I was like, what? And I've been trying every Tuesday for the last couple of months to see him play in a basketball game, right? And every time the weather's been bad, every Tuesday we get to a game, the game is canceled. It's inclement weather. And so finally this Tuesday, the same thing happened. We had the snow and it got canceled and it got moved to yesterday. And so after my wife finished work, we went up to in New Jersey to watch him play, right? So, and we shared our Valentine Day with my good friend Hugo and Leslie and James, and watching him in a basketball game. And then immediately after that, we stopped at the Palisades Mall, and we got a chance to see Bob Marley's One Love, right? Valentine's Day, go see One Love. I enjoyed it tremendously. It was a blessing. Great day yesterday, right? And I'm hoping that we have even better day today. So let's get moving forward. I want to show you the focus today is who is your neighbor, right? That's the focus today is who is your neighbor? Who is your neighbor? Because we got a lot of ideas of who our neighbor is. Sometimes people living right next to us, we don't even talk to, and we call them our neighbor, right? But who is your neighbor? Here's a quick video, 17 seconds. Here's a quick video on who is your neighbor. That was quick, right? Who is your neighbor, right? And before I bring on my son, right, I want to show this other video. Who is your neighbor? See how quick that was? Who is your neighbor? Because we got a funny way of thinking who our neighbor is, right? And so I want to show you this about the power, right, of what a real neighbor is and what a real neighbor will do. So let's check this out, this video, and then I'm going to bring on my son-in-law here. Who is your neighbor?
Drama on the court than anybody at a basketball game bargained for when the referee calling the game collapsed from a heart attack. And one of the players turned out to be a real lifesaver. Stephen Fabian has details.
The basketball game is in full swing. Suddenly, the referee wobbles. Then he collapses. There is an eerie silence at the gym in upstate New York. Then you see a player run to the stricken ref's side. He is furiously performing chest compressions, and he sure seems to know what he's doing.
I run towards the emergencies. I don't run away from them.
That's because the player, 25-year-old Miles Copeland, is a firefighter with the Toledo, Ohio Fire Department. By night, he's a semi-pro basketball player. That's him. He's number 44. From the very first moment, Copeland knew the situation was dire.
I just don't happen to feel a pulse. He's not breathing.
In the stands was the ref's fiance, Donna Metz. Did you think you lost him in that moment?
I did. I mean, he was gone. I mean, that's the fear. So my only hope was that they could bring him back.
For 30 minutes, Copeland worked to get 61-year-old John Scully's heart going again.
It was an eternity. And watching your loved one's chest get pumped like that, it's terrorizing.
Here she is, nervously looking on during the effort to keep her fiance alive. But it was so traumatic, Donna says she had to leave the arena. 30 minutes went by.
And they finally came out and said, he's back. You know, he's talking, he's alert.
What was the first thing the ref said when he came to?
He was kind of jokingly saying that he was going to go just back in and ref the rest of the game.
A young man who's never traveled with the team, wasn't scheduled to be here, stepped in and saved that man's life.
Talk about a lucky break. Today, the ref went in for heart bypass surgery, but before he did, he shared with Inside Edition a message for Copeland.
Miles, my heart literally goes out to you for saving my life. You are my hero.
It really makes me feel really good.
I love him. You know, I'm his biggest fan he's ever going to have in this world.
And there's more good news. Mr. Scully's family says he got through today's triple bypass with flying colors. Now they're focused on his recovery. We wish him the best.
All right. So the question is, who is your neighbor? Right. So, son, I think we got two. We got my son and my granddaughter too.
Oh,
I know she's around there somewhere.
I put her on the tablet so I can actually talk, but she'll come over here if needed.
Yeah. So what did you think, man? First of all, what do you think about the love challenge?
In speaking of you, first of all, I don't think there's any podcaster, vlogger, blogger out there doing 29 days straight of something. So I want to commend you, and I believe it's real honorable that you would think of this on whatever month. You could have did it on any month. This just has more content towards it because we're in, like you said, the month of February. And I believe it's shaking people up. It's challenging people like it should be. And we don't want people to fail in the challenge, but we are, like you said, we're trying to change the mindset of people to just love more. because love endures, loves heals all things. You know, we all know what the Bible says about love. But yeah, I just want to commend you on doing this. This is really it's challenging to try to find something new to do every day, and to give to your people something that you hold and treasure to you, which is faith, family, love, and basketball.
Yeah. And in the framework of acts of kindness, right? Have you ever provided it? Well, I already said randomly yesterday you came over and made pancakes. So yesterday, but have you had somebody who, you know, just out of nowhere do something for you that it was no real reason why they should?
Yes. It's great. Well, I'm gonna talk about two reasons. One, a long time ago, and it helped me do the same thing sometimes. One day, um, uh, first name is losing me, but the last name is Battle. She's a part of the Battle family. Gail, I think it's Gail. Just randomly said hi to her in the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through, and pulled up to the window, and the person was like, "Oh, it was paid for already." So sometimes when I go through the drive-through, I might do that too for the person behind me. That was a random act of kindness. Um, I did a random act of kindness for someone. You know, someone asked me for some money, and I sent them more than what they asked for. And the same exact amount that was more than yesterday, I pulled up to the gas station. I didn't have my card. Michelle's card wasn't working. And I saw another firefighter there who said, "Yo, go ahead, don't worry about it. Just, whatever, pump." I'm like, "Nah, man, I'd cash app you. I'd do something." And the same amount that I paid this dude over, it was the same exact money I put in my bank account. Random act of kindness came back to me.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah, that's I mean, you can't, what I'm saying? You can't make this stuff up.
You can't. It's
You
got to be
know.
God.
Yeah. I mean, it's and love is so powerful. I mean, in spite of what happened on yesterday with the parade at Kansas City, and things that are happening all around the world, right? If we continue, I said, look, it starts with one person, right? And if that one person shows like kindness, like you did, and then somebody respond, that's what happened. It's a chain reaction, right? And it makes you in these 29 days, we're just trying to make people become aware, right? Because every day every day when you turn on your television, right, or you're talking to somebody, every day we're aware of what's negative. We're aware of what's wrong, right? And we hear people talking about it all day long. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong with politics? What's wrong with people? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? Right? And you get, it's like the law of attraction, right? You get what you think about, right? You get what you talk about.
Manifestation.
Yeah, you get what you physically do. It comes back to you, right? So we're trying to change the narrative, and say, let's think about let's think about something positive. Let's think about something positive we can do. Let's think about love. Let's think about kindness. Let's think about patience, being patient. Let's think about peace. Yeah, let's think about being good, right? Going to the game, not looking for going to anywhere and being afraid to go. Right. And somebody bumps into you, right? Somebody bumps into you, and rather than reacting, you respond, "Oh, that's all right, man." Because people, when they bump into you now, they go like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Because they think like, yeah, this person's gonna go crazy. But when you show love, it becomes very powerful. Yeah. So when you're a firefighter, right?
Yeah.
So watching that video.
The video got me, man. Dad, hold on, Dad. Time out. First of all, I'm a firefighter, yes. Second of all, the man had a triple bypass surgery, and my dad had a triple bypass surgery. So you know how me and dad is, and then the experiences I've had with him, it touched me. It touched me that, first of all, if that firefighter wasn't there, I was wondering if somebody else was going to react. The fact that he reacted so quickly is the reason why the man saved his life. Even the wife stood back and let people work. She wasn't, most people, we get calls sometimes, they want to be all over us. Please stand back. You see it on all the shows. Let them work, let them work, let them work. And she trusted in this man who was obviously knew what he was doing. She trusted him. And you just got that video was it was really good, really, really heart touching. And I'm glad I'm glad he was there. Like the man said it. He wasn't supposed to be there today.
Yeah, he doesn't even travel. Wasn't supposed to be there. Look at God. I mean, and the other, huh?
Real quick, you said God. For what happened yesterday, I think if anybody hears this, and they should know that God is good. God doesn't do good. He is good. So God will never do something negative to then get the glory from him doing something good. He is good. There's no, because people are like, well, why did he let this happen? He's a God, he's a sovereign God, and he's a God, he won't break any promises. And he gave us free will from day one. And the people who choose to do things like that is not working out of the love of God. And with your challenge, if that could start to change a little bit, then I mean, we could hopefully, I believe it is working. You don't hear so much of these things happening now, so maybe it's spreading, but
Well, let me say this real quick. Back when I said this the other day, back when I was with the Boys and Girls Club, right? And it was always people talking about how bad youth were, how negative, particularly in Mount Vernon. The kids are so bad, so forth and so on. But as you look at the data, right, the data states that between 5 and 7% of young people today do negative stuff.
5 and 7.
Right. So if you take the 5% and you think about it, that's 5%. The other 95%, right, are going to school, going to class, doing their business, walking to school without incident, going home without incident, going to their clubs, their basketball practices, and so forth and so on. 95%. But you know what happens? The 5% gets all the attention. Right. And so we need to shift the attention.
That's it.
Where we start to focus on what is good and help what's bad, but we focus on what is good, right? And we magnify that. Because see, we all want attention. Right. So if we don't get it being good, we start to do things bad, and then people pay attention to us.
And then people, we need to maybe change the importance of what's good. Because when you do good, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. You don't get highlighted unless you go above and beyond. People, even as a firefighter, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. If I go into a burning building, if I save a cat, a dog, a person, oh, it's what you're supposed to do. But let me be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Then it's Mount Vernon firefighter did this. It's like the negative gets magnified in a way where people have no intent, no choice but to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So we need to promote, even like with your grandkids, right? Every little thing they do that's good, it's highlighted. It's a party. So they can know that keep doing good.
Yeah. And when you do bad, because love is a dove and a serpent, right? Which means that there's time for a hug, and then there's time for a discipline. Right? You can't have love without having that.
Yeah.
you know, and so there's got to be some constructive criticism, something constructive. So and it's the way you do it,
Right.
right? So you know, your kid does something, you're not gonna beat your kid,
Love is
right? But
correct.
you're gonna
Yep.
stop them and say, "Nah, I think that was wrong." And if they need a timeout, you're gonna give them a timeout, you know. But they need that structure to say this is right and this is wrong, right? But when they do something good, you know, we're going like, yo, you, because we want to magnify the good.
Out of good.
Yep, we want to magnify the good, so that way they'll learn about being good, about being kind.
And it needs to happen more with the men in the world. I say it, I joke around. I go to church, right? The girls come in, the ladies come into church, and they dress nice, and all the girls is like, you doing it? Go girl, blah, 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 blah. And like the guys that come in, I remember one time a guy came in and I like did the same thing. I was like, yo, dude, you looking fly, yo, you got the drip, that, and they all laughed. All the girls laughed, even me and the guy, because he knew what I was coming from. But if we could break down the mold of our pride and show love to one another, it's that helps a lot. Like the men need to know it's not being soft. One thing I would never tell your grandson is little boys don't cry. You know, or if I say boys don't, what's the saying? Big boys don't cry,
Yeah.
but real men do.
Mm.
So shed your tears. Like your tears is your seed. If he get it from me, he gonna be sensitive. You know, I cry for everything. But we just gotta show love with one another, especially the men. We always want to be tough and stern, and we just gotta let down our guard sometimes. If believe that God got us, ain't nothing else gonna hurt us.
Yeah. I want to say thank you for just popping on. I called you, said, what you doing? You like popped on, right?
I knew what you was gonna ask me. I was waiting for it.
and let me tell you, let me close with this because I want to show you my last video and my outro. But yesterday, one of the most powerful thing at the game, right? One of the most powerful things at the game, watching the freshman team play and watching the JV play, because my friend Hugo's son plays on the JV. And I haven't seen him in 5 years. He's like now in high school, you know. So the crazy thing at the end of the freshman game, the other one team was losing, and at the end of the game, he showed poor sportsmanship and conduct. You know, at the end of the game, instead of fouling the guy, he grabbed the guy and threw him to the bleachers. Right. So then they end up, it's like 3 seconds left, so they end up calling the game. You know, one team had such humility while they played and such character while they played, which it was the team that I came to see, you know. So doing, I watched freshman JV, and then my friend asked me if I would watch the varsity game, and they kept talking about this one kid who plays football, but he's on the basketball team, and he's being offered by every Division I team as a cornerback. They said he's athletic, he's talented. I was watching his demeanor. I mean, he showed no pride, you know, like no arrogance. He was just doing layups, doing shots. He wasn't going up showing he could dunk and showing he was athletic, you know, and he even marched out when one of the seniors came out, the cheerleaders, he escorted her out, right? Powerful. And he got on there, his whole demeanor was just, I was like, wow, this guy being recruited by everybody. I mean, every top football team you could think of, Ohio, Michigan, you could think of it. He's being recruited, and he was humble, you know. And you know what was so powerful about it is that he didn't talk about it. Everybody in the stand kept saying he's the guy. He's the nicest guy. He's not just doing this thing on social media. He's not doing any of that stuff. He's just a nice guy. And he's talented, right? He's humble. So I leave that with you guys. I'm going to show you this final video. Son, thank you for coming on, for popping on. It was great.
1 second. Acts of kindness. Who's your neighbor, right? Yesterday, you shoveled the whole driveway for your neighbor. You got 2 new neighbors on your block. So I pray that plants a seed in them. And I also did the same thing. My neighbor, we always help the young lady out. And I saw the man's wife shoveling snow, and I went over there and helped her out. And those are your neighbors, the people that look out for your house when you're not there, and stuff like that. So who's your neighbor? It's me and you. We the neighbors.
That's right. And you don't even have to know them. That's the power of it. You know, your neighbor is not who you know, right? It's who you know and who you don't know, and who needs help at the time. Yeah. All right, man. Let me jump out of here.
Love you.
Let's see here. There we go.
A.D. Williams once said, "Imagine what 7 billion humans could accomplish if we loved and respected one another." Just imagine. Imagine if there was no greed. Imagine if there was no comparison. If everyone was running their own race, but cheering for all others at the same time. Maybe we'll never see that in our lifetime. But what we all can do is start with ourselves. Start with yourself. Choose to lift others up. Choose to set the example of kindness and integrity, the example of compassion and understanding. There's a quote that says, "No matter how educated, talented, rich, or cool you believe you are, how you treat people ultimately tells all." Integrity is everything. It really is. Who you are is far more important than what you have, and it will always be. Who you are is measured by how you make others feel. Be kind to each other. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. Choose to be the change you wish to see in the world. Decide you will not wait for someone else. You will set the example. Be kind. Because you never know how much that person is suffering inside. You never know the difference your words can make, the difference your presence can make, the difference you can make to one human life. Be the reason someone believes in the goodness of humanity. Be the reason someone else decides to make a difference in others. Be the influence you want to see more of. Always do what is right, not what is easy in the moment. Kindness spreads like a virus. When you do good to another, that person does better to those they come in contact with. You really can make a big difference in the world today and every other day. Anne Frank said, "In the long run, the sharpest weapon of all is a kind and gentle spirit." No one has ever made themselves great by showing how small another is. Be kind and always build others up to the best of your ability. Treat everyone with the same level of kindness that you would like for yourself. Not because everyone is nice, but because you are. Because karma makes no mistakes. Because it is right. Because you have integrity. Because you want this world to be better when you leave than when you arrive.